house needs painting, grass needs mowing, where's he at?
Hi, this is Hank. Sorry I missed your call. Leave me your name and your number and I'll get back to you.
He's gone fishing.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Mossy Oak and Liqua Molly. Hey, and welcome to Off the Water with Hank Parker. I have replaced Sarah Beth. My guest is not quite as pretty as Sarah Beth, but he's an awesome guy and a great friend. My buddy Paul Dennis. Paul, so awesome to have you today. Man, this is going to be exciting. Sarah Beth decided to set out because she knew how good a friend you and I are, and she didn't want to be a fifth wheel. So she said, why don't you guys just do this podcast and let me set out? So Sarah Beth is actually behind the scenes over here running camera, and she's smiling because she didn't even put makeup on this morning. She got up and put a hat on and got pigtails, but she's still pretty. But
Amen.
We're going to have a great podcast for you today. Paul is with the FCA. And FCA, tell us what FCA is. Not exactly what your role is. We'll get into that in a minute. But FCA was founded for athletes and school systems. Tell us a little bit about FCA.
Okay. Fellowship of Christian Athletes, large sports ministry internationally, in well over 100 countries now. About 3,000.
Hold on a minute. 100 countries. Wow. I did not realize that.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah.
Right at 3,000 staff in the U.S.
Wow.
Having a great time telling everybody about Jesus. And our mission is to see every coach and athlete in a growing relationship with Jesus Christ and His church.
And that is the purpose of FCA. And it started how long ago, Paul?
It started in 1954.
1954. I was 1 year old. That was a long time ago. But let me tell you, I'll tell you, Paul, how I got involved in the FCA. We started an organization called FCA, Fellowship of Christian Anglers. Years ago, Jimmy Houston put that together, and I joined forces with him, and we later called it Focus. Got Terry Chupp involved, and been lots of great reports and salvation. Shaw Grigsby's one of the many who got saved through that ministry. But nevertheless, we talk about FCA. I don't know. I was with your friend and my friend Keith Kelly, and we were somewhere, and I was asked the question, am I involved in FCA? And then I explained the fact that we started an organization called FCA, and we call it Fellowship of Christian Anglers. And they said, no, we're talking about Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And I said, no, I never really considered myself an athlete, and I've always been a fisherman. And he said, well, that doesn't have anything to do with what your interest is. It is reaching others for the cause of Jesus Christ. It's reaching others through the gospel. And do you realize that the FCA is one of the last organizations in America that through the students can take the gospel of Jesus Christ to public schools? And I said, no, I didn't realize that. They said, well, you need to study up on that. I said, I've already heard enough. I'm in. And that's how I got involved in FCA. And then here comes Paul Dennis with FCA Outdoors.
Yeah.
Now tell me about what you do and how that came about.
Well, I get to minister and serve in the outdoor community and tell people about Jesus, so that's a pretty good deal. Fellowship of Christian Athletes Outdoors. So, again, our mission is reach every. So we're serving in the community. We work a lot with fishing teams. That's a tremendously fast-growing sport, high school and college as well as pros. Shooting sports. Archery is numerically extremely large, the largest participation sport in America. Also with rodeo and equestrian, adventure, backpacking. And so we work with a lot of students who are competing in those activities or participating in those activities, but we're also taking the football team out around the campfire, getting them outside, let them catch fish, and getting them out in creation where they can experience the Creator.
Man, that is a great ministry. I like the fact that, you got to be kind of gifted to be an athlete. You got to be fast, you got to be strong, you got to be this or you got to be that. But to participate in the outdoors, you don't have to be, there's no specs. The water's level. It doesn't matter whether you're a little girl, a little boy, whether you're tall, short, fast, slow, and none of that matters. So everybody has an opportunity to participate in the outdoors. That's what I tell people about fishing. It's so awesome that a lot of these kids that wouldn't qualify to be a baseball player or a football player or a volleyball or whatever sport is in high school, man, anybody can get involved in fishing. So
yeah.
That ministry is, now you're wide open. I mean, it covers.
That's definitely true. And also all abilities is a big part of what we do. It's another sports pillar, like Outdoors is a sports pillar of FCA. But
now, tell me a little bit about that, all ability.
So we're reaching people who have different physical abilities or mental abilities and allowing them to have an experience too in athletics. And so there's all kind of cool activities. Like one of the wildest things I've ever seen is wheelchair rugby. And and so they're just knocking each other all over the floor. It's just nuts, and helping each other get back in the chair. But in the outdoors realm with that, like archery, for example, in high school we got students that shoot, and one student I see come into one of our tournaments. He's a great shot. He has no legs at all. He rolls up on a skateboard, hops off, but he's not on a special team. He's on his high school archery team. And the same thing happens, of course, with some of the other shooting sports and fishing. So that's a good deal, and it's really co-ed. Archery's a little heavy, actually, in the Southeast especially. I'm aware of the statistics. It's a little heavy on female. It's about 53% girls.
That is awesome. And I know that I go speak at a lot of high school fishing teams, and I'm going to say 20 to 25% of high school fishing teams across the board are made up of female, and I think that is awesome.
Yeah, that's right, and I think shotgun's about the same.
Yeah, the shooting sports are 25-30% girls.
Yeah, and the firearms.
I love it. I know why you do it, but I want to get into that. I know why I do it, and it's not about being an athlete. And I don't want anybody to pretend that I think I'm an athlete, because I know, I'm limited. I'm a fisherman. And there is some athletics required to be a professional fisherman, and I don't want to take away from those guys. I don't want to say I'm one of them. I guess I have to say at one time I was, but professional fisherman, it's a grind, man. It is a grind, and physically you got to be up to it. It's very demanding, but I don't really consider myself an athlete. That's like they talk about NASCAR drivers. My boys drove NASCAR, and I ran late model cars. And we'd have a 50-lap race, and I'm ready to fall out of the seat. We're running on a half-mile racetrack, so I ran 25 miles, and I'm dead. I mean, I'm exhausted in 25 miles, and these NASCAR guys go out there and run for 500 miles. They are incredible athletes. So there are athletes, but that's not what I got involved in FCA for. I got involved to be able to engage with people. The more you know people, then the more people know you, and they see your heart, the more power your witness has when you know and you engage and you build a friendship and a bond. People see you're genuine, and when you're genuine, they tend to listen a little more thorough than when you just casually meet someone on the street and ask them about their salvation.
Yes.
So it's all about engaging for the opportunity to be real, to be able to share the gospel from my perspective, and I want to hear your side of the story.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Getting out and building a relationship. There's something about getting outside and getting around a campfire that, men will kind of open up a little more maybe, and our hearts are open, our minds are clear. Psalm 19 says the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament displays his handiwork. You get outside, you see the stars, you see some of the wildlife. It definitely makes a difference and opens up hearts and minds. and he reveals some. David wrote a lot of Psalms. He was out there looking at it, and God was speaking to him. And just to get away, maybe shut down some of the technology and get away from the phone for a few minutes. And even if you're intense in your practice and your athletics, to get out there and back off a little bit sometimes is really opens up the heart to receptivity for sure.
I do an event. We've been doing it now for about 12 or 15 years. I know we've been doing it for 10 years. I think this was the 10th anniversary that we just did. And I fish with the Boys Farm of Newberry, South Carolina. And it's an orphanage, and they work with these kids. For me, I thought orphans were people that their mother and father had passed away. Today in our society, there are so many parents that are addicted to different substances, and the courts actually rule that their children have to go to a foster care or an orphanage or whatever. So I had a young man in my boat, and I had him 2 years in a row. First year, he wasn't very transparent, and I understand that he had a lot of walls. But this past year, I was talking to him a little bit, and he was telling me, I asked him about his mom and dad, and he said, I'm not sure where my dad is. Hadn't heard from him in a long time. And my mom's in prison. And he said, I just don't have any parents. And I said, you think your parents love you? And he said, I don't really know. They've never made an effort to express that to me. And he said, I'm a part of the Boys Farm, and he said, I'm happy. And I said, well, let me tell you, none of us have a choice who our parents are. None of us have any choice at all in our birth. We could have been born in Venezuela. We could have been born in communist Russia or the furthest parts of Africa. We have no control over that at all. And I said, you don't have any control over your circumstances. You're a baby. You're born into the world. And your parent, he said, oh, let me stop you, Mr. Parker. He said, that's not going to define who I am. He said, my circumstances and my situation is not going to define who I am. And I thought, boy, that is so powerful. And it impacted me, And so you deal with a lot of kids, a lot of circumstances, and they're not really being loved at home. I mean, I'm got a little kid in my boat that he don't even know if his mom and dad even love him, let alone spend any time with him. There's so many sets of circumstances around that, and the opportunity to be able to, whether a kid loves archery, whether a kid loves fishing, whether a kid's in the rodeo, backpacking, or whatever, to be able to engage with that kid, boy, girl, legs, no legs, handicap, healthy, it doesn't matter. To be able to engage with that person and to be able to share with them the love of Jesus Christ and show them something they've never seen before.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just that relationship and get out there and talk and kind of get over break some of those walls down, and God uses it. It's common.
Yeah, I've seen it, and you're a master at it. I don't even know how you do so well, but you just seem like never meet a stranger. And all these kids, you and I got to go on the turkey hunt, and all those kids just gravitate toward you, and you just like hey, we've been best buddies for 30 years, and you only met for 5 minutes, and it's just like, hey, this is how we roll, brother. We're just all in this together, and it's fascinating to watch you engage with these kids, and we're so blessed to have you in doing this, and it is definitely a calling. Tell me a little bit about your background.
Okay. Well, I grew up on a farm, on a dairy farm, so I'm used to, it's hot right now outside. And I don't ever remember my daddy saying it's too hot to cut hay today. So we had a lot of, but our outdoor activities were really our entertainment, be able to fish and hunt. So, and then growing up in that way, great Christian home, great mom and dad, loved the Lord. So they guided me great. I was extremely blessed. I know that a lot of the people I work with and get to build relationships with don't have that, and God intervenes, but and helps the situation they're in. But I was very blessed to have that leadership, and then got to know the Lord at an early age. Shot rifle competitively. Got to shoot for University of Georgia when I was getting my ag degree, and then God surprised me and called me into ministry, and so I got to pastor for a number of years and circle back around and get into serving Fellowship Christian Athletes Outdoors. Is awesome, getting to working with the different sports and the students. So yeah, I still enjoy getting out, but man, I just love to see them come to the Lord.
And how long have you been in the position of, are you the director of FCA Outdoors for Georgia or nationwide, or what's your title?
Yeah, my title, like it really matters, is I'm Executive Vice President of Outdoors. So that means I get to facilitate and help our staff all around the globe, really, internationally. Oh, you would enjoy this. Got pictures this week from FCA Outdoors Ecuador, and they're climbing on some incredible rock somewhere, and having devotion up on top of it, and just, I was like, well, I didn't make that trip.
I'm glad I wasn't invited on that one. I'd be looking for the escalator.
It's good pictures to show that.
Man, we went on an elk hunt, your buddy Keith Kelly and I, with some FCA guys last year in Crawford, Colorado, and I realized that there are limits to how high you can climb. You killed an elk the very first day, did you not? Or was it day two?
No, it was day one.
Day one, yeah. You didn't mess around. I like that. Beautiful country and good times. It's so awesome to go to camp where everybody there is have the foundation of a ministry that is so important to all of us. I mean, we're all grounded, saved, and prioritize Jesus Christ in our lives, but I've been to a lot of camps over my 15 years that we did outdoor television hunting. I've been to a lot of deer camps, and it's so special when you can go to a camp like we were in Colorado, that everybody there, their priority is serving the Lord, and what a great spirit is in that camp, how much fun we had there. We had Bible study every afternoon. We'd come in, and then we'd have Bible study at night. And
yes,
it was just a very great spirit in camp. I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
that's kind of FCA.
Great time. Yeah, that's what we do. And camps, not just hunting camps, but shooting sports camps, fishing camps, archery camps, and then different types of sport camps, power camps or sports camps where they participate in different types of sports. A lot of those are including archery and other outdoor activities now. So, but yeah, we have a ball with a rodeo camp. It's all good.
When you say camp, now, you think of having fun. You think about, if it's archery camp, man, we're going to go learn about techniques, methods. We're going to improve our shooting ability. We're going to get some tips from different people. And then you think about FCA, well, we're there to spread the gospel. So how does a camp work? Is it based on having a good time and shooting and let's just say archery camp, and I know you have all these different camps, but is that camp based on having a good time, picking up some tips, and then you have a Bible study in the middle of it? Tell me kind of how that works.
Yeah, well, the main thing, of course, is the worship time and the Bible study time and the development time. Of course, we're spending time and using that platform of athletics or outdoor activities, whatever the preference is at the time. But we're helping to grow those students to develop in their walk with the Lord, to be able to be leaders. We had outdoor leadership camp a month ago, and so some of the students come, they learn a little bit of archery, so how they can teach others. And then so this past week they're at an outdoor show, giving kids an experience in that, but they're also sharing the gospel, And we get out, again, it's hard to spend a week and have that long-term of an impact that a camp can have. God just shows up. And so, yes, of course, our main thing is usually our theme. We have, in FCA, we'll have a theme every year that we go throughout our camps, all of them. And this year it was glory, not our glory, but His glory. It's all for His glory. So we're about, one of my favorite things I like to do is any camp we have, I generally try to get a late night star devotion, and we'd go out and look at the stars if we got a good clear night, and it's just part of a verse. He made the stars also.
It's pretty hard to explain how two pieces of dust came together and formed all of it when you're up there looking at all the stars.
I'll never forget this young gal. She was from inner city Atlanta. She did shoot on a shotgun team. She came to our camp, and she was a great shot and sweet spirited gal, loved the Lord. But she got out and she looked up at those stars and her mouth just fell open. Brilliant lady, but she said, well, we don't have stars like that where I live. It's there, but to see it just really has an impact.
You don't think of light pollution, but that's exactly what it is. When you have too much light inside the city, it distorts the view of the heavens. So they don't have them in Atlanta.
A lot of them never got to get outside and hear a coyote or a hoot owl at night, and it's good to get out and get that experience, and God certainly speaks through it.
That is so special. And we talk about, Paul, the FCA and the opportunity to take the gospel of public schools. For those who are listening or watching and didn't realize how delicate that program is, you can't or I can't go into the public schools and share the gospel. It has to be done within the student body. So whether it's an archery director or archery team or a student of archery or of fishing or of football or basketball or baseball or whatever the sport may be, you or even the coach himself during school hours on public school grounds are not allowed to share the gospel. You're restricted. But a student can talk and share whatever's on his heart.
And that's what really FCA is. It's a platform for students to be able to share their faith and have a positive impact and serve their peers within their school system and serve their coaches. And so some of our huddles, our Bible studies, are all school. You don't really have to be an athlete, and they usually meet before school in high schools, and if it's a younger group, after. But then they also have team huddles that'll meet after practice, and the students will lead a devotion. And those kind of things are awesome, have a great impact. And we do spend a lot of time helping those leaders develop and grow.
Now, when you say huddles, I know we got some people watching and listening that they think of a huddle as when you get together to call a football play. What would explain a huddle?
A huddle is our meeting. Like if you have a before school huddle, all school huddle, so the students who want to come, of course, voluntarily, will meet somewhere on campus, and the students will lead them in a Bible study, and they'll pray for each other, and they'll fellowship, and maybe play some games, maybe have music together, depending on the location and what the leadership team's doing. But so that's just their gathering. But it's kind of like on football field. I mean, it'd be real bored if all you had was a huddle.
You got to have a play.
It's all you do is gather at church. It's got, so then they go out and live and have a positive impact in their community and in their school.
I like that. Ryan Suckup, who was a great kicker for the University of South Carolina, just right down the road from here, who went on to the NFL. He started out playing with Kansas City. He got his Super Bowl ring with Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but he got saved through FCA. Shares that testimony. He's been to, I do a sporting clay event every year as a fundraiser for FCA, and Cleve McCleary and Tim Lee and Emmaus Road Partners. So we share in that fundraiser. We do that at Meadowood Plantation. It's a great sporting clay course, and Ryan has been a part of that for several years, and he shares his testimony. Had it not been for FCA, he may never have been a Christian, but he got saved through that program, and that was in college. And I hear so many kids talk about getting saved through FCA in grade school even. And I know you guys, you were a big part, and you may not want to talk about it. If you don't, we can pass on it. But you came under attack and was challenged and actually had to defend in court or through a hearing to be able to stay in the grade school level. And if you don't mind, if you don't think we're infringing a little bit, might want to explain that some.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some, obviously when you're involved in public school and you're sharing your faith, somebody's going to oppose it probably. But yeah, there's been some court settlements, and of course, Supreme Court settled it. It's not an issue. The way we do it, the way the students do it and lead it, it's good. You can do it. We have it. They have that right. Absolutely. So it's this thing called free speech. And
free speech is under attack as a whole.
Yes, but it has had court cases, and we've had a few in a couple of different areas of the country. But really, there's not any school districts in the United States where we're prohibited. We're able to go because that's been settled. And of course, we have a lawyer. We have some good guys, and they just try to, keep us on the right path, doing it the right way. And we're grateful to have a platform to be able to encourage students to share their faith.
I'm surprised. I subscribe to Decision magazine, which is a Billy Graham Foundation publication, and I was reading about Samaritan's Purse going and setting up at across from Mount Sinai Hospital in Central Park, and they set up tents and brought doctors from all over the country and was treating patients from overflow that Mount Sinai could not handle. And so these Samaritan Purse set up and was helping with all these COVID patients and wasn't charging anything, bringing doctors from all over the country to help. And the mayor went to Franklin Graham and said, well, we let you guys in here. We did not realize you were part of a hate organization.
Right.
And Franklin said, we're not a part of a hate organization. We're part of a love organization. We represent Jesus Christ. He said, oh, no. We see the cross. We see the Bible verses. The Bible is a book of hate. You guys need to pack up and leave. Basically ran them off after they had served and done such a wonderful job on treating patients. They didn't force anything on anybody. It was all free treatment and just showing the love of Christ, but they were ran off. And as Franklin defended their position and defended the Bible, the mayor finally said to Franklin, and I'm recalling from memory of reading this out of Decision magazine, that they didn't meet New Yorkers' values. Therefore, they were asked to leave. And I know that is the attitude of so many people. I mean, I do social media, and you'll get all kind of criticism about sharing the gospel, which, that's an honor. To be criticized for standing up for Jesus Christ is probably one of the greatest compliments you can give me. So I'll take it, and I know that Franklin felt the same way. But it does show the attitude of a lot of people that just hate your position, and you're under attack. And I read the reviews, and the reason I brought that up, I read the reviews of the hearing that was, I think it was in Georgia, where the elementary school kids had to stand before the court, and the court was to determine, or the board or whomever they stood before was going to determine whether they had the ability to be able to share on their own, or if it was coming from an outsider, somebody older that did not have the rights. And these kids came through. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, somewhat. I wouldn't get into details because I might mess them up. But, you're going to have, I know there are people that their job is to go look at a computer and try to find some of our staff or myself saying something or doing something that we shouldn't do on campus, get us out of line, because they're upset about it. We have a FCA after-school huddle at an elementary school close to our church. Our folks help lead that, the kids. The parents sign permission. I mean, it's after school. The parents give them permission to come, and then the kids come, of course, willingly, and we still develop a student leadership team.
Yeah.
We had this Satan Club group, and they come down and they said, well, if they can do it, we can do a Satan Club. And they said, well, what do you think? It's on that line of news. It's all a big deal, And I said, well, yeah, I don't think many of our parents, and of course, it was all smoke. They were just fussed at us because none of the parents signed their elementary kids up for the Satan Club. They went away. We're not, yes, it's a freedom of speech. They have it as well. And equal access, there's terms there on the school property if you're using it for one. So yeah, we're blessed, and we really have an emphasis on coaches as well. Though we like to encourage and emphasize coaches and do things for them off campus, of course, couples retreats, and any way we can, because they're tremendous people, have great influence. They serve students and families and put up with a lot of stuff and have horrible schedules. But we're grateful for our coaches, whether they're archery coaches or football coaches or whatever.
I haven't been around. I love archery, and I know you teach archery. I love archery. I shoot a longbow now. I tell people I'm the world's greatest sportsman. I've gone from my compound bow to going back to where I started. I started when I was a kid. I used to get spankings for shooting robins. I shoot anything with my old recurve bow, and every once in a while I'd hit one. And get in trouble, but I started out shooting a old glass bear recurve bow, and then I went on and moved up to training wheels on that compound bow, and boy, I tell you, that made a world of difference. So I graduated to a compound bow. Now I've gone back and I'm shooting traditional archery and shooting a longbow, and so I fire warning shots a lot. But I absolutely love archery, and it's just a fun thing for me to be involved. All my kids like to shoot bows. We deer hunt with bows, but we shoot out in the yard, and we got grandkids coming on shooting bows. And I did not realize, you said in the Southeast statistics show that archery is one of the biggest sports in high schools. I had no earthly idea of that.
Statistically, more students participated in NAS, National Archery in the School Program, in America last year than played Little League Baseball in America.
Golly, I had no clue of that.
Eastern Nationals in Louisville, Kentucky for NASP, and Center Shot holds theirs there as well. And JROTC has an archery program also. They had 17,000 students at one tournament. So, yeah, it's huge. I was blessed yesterday to help certify some coaches. I can train PE teachers to teach archery, and so through the NASP and Center Shot programs, I was able to do that yesterday. So, yeah, it's cool. It's numerically very, very large. There's a lot of positives from learning. Hit that, and again, a lot of them are not athletes, like you said. If you're 5'6" and 130 pounds, you're probably not going to play on the line, but you can shoot a bow, and you may not be quick. So that's been really good to just see the student, and it grows. NASP, I think, is still growing by like 1,000 schools a year.
Wow.
So it's huge, and that's just one program. That's just NASP. That's just they're shooting that Genesis bow. I'm always shooting that same equipment. It's pretty equal. It's a lot of fun. I like to tell people that. And you like to hunt with yours. I use a compound. I was going to take the training wheels off, but I ended up with a nice one, so I said, no, I got to shoot it some. So I may back and forth a little bit, but I like to tell people, you can kill a deer with a crossbow or a muzzle loader or a high-powered rifle or a shotgun slug, or if you can at least shoot at it with a longbow, and you can kill a deer with a minivan. There's a lot of ways.
There's been a lot of them killed with minivans.
A lot of ways to kill a deer, but there's one way to get to heaven. His name's Jesus, and so I like to emphasize that and the opportunities that we have to share. But the archery programs are great, and they're good for self-esteem. And the statistics are that right at half the students who participate in archery in their PE class that have never went out for a sport will go out for one afterwards, because their self-confidence builds up. They hit the bullseye, maybe I can make the basket. So it's a cool deal.
I like that. You talked about if you're 130 pounds, you're probably not going to play on the line. For me, I could hit a baseball pretty good, but I could hit it to the wall. I mean, I could hit what would for anybody else would be a double or maybe a triple, and they'd still throw me out at first. Turtles just play baseball. I'm just telling you.
That's a hindrance.
Yeah, I could not run the bases very well. I was
and the other thing
slow. You had to hold up two fingers. Is he moving? Yep, he's moving.
The other thing about the outdoor sports, though, too, is they're more lifelong. I mean, I don't play football anymore.
Yeah.
But I still fish and hunt. And, and so it's to be able to do that and to be able to share it, to be able to pass that legacy on and influence folks in that environment is really a great thing for all ages. So a lot of our men and ladies in our churches, working with our students to help influence them in a positive direction and give them some love and show them some outdoor abilities. That's cool.
I think one of the greatest gifts a dad can give to his son is time. And I think that's the hardest. It's easier to give an allowance than it is to give a couple hours of your time. And I've often told people about fishing is an awesome time. And for me, and I'm talking from experience with my own children, we have our agenda. We're busy. We got lots of demands on our time. It seems like it gets worse all the time. The cost of living goes up, the demand, the competition in the job place. So we're always fighting. We're in a hurry. We got to go. We're driving our kids to school, and we try to teach them about drugs. We try to teach them about all the bad things. And you force that in when it doesn't fit. That your son or your daughter has got all kinds of things on their mind. You're driving to school, and you're trying to drive that point home in a situation that is just not conducive to communicating at all. So you're throwing a lot of stuff out there that is not well received. But if you go to the lake and you're sitting on the pond bank or sitting in the boat or creek bank, wherever you are, and you're just relaxing, you're interacting, you're listening to them, and that's a big part that you don't have time to listen to them when you're driving to school. You want to drive that point home. Don't do drugs, fentanyl's everywhere, people are dying. Don't do that. And you're desperately trying to persuade them that that's a bad deal. But you get on that, they don't listen. I mean, it's just, it doesn't fit. It's not a good environment to communicate. And you go and you build that environment by spending time and showing them that you care and you engage. You listen to them, and you're watching a bobber or casting a plastic worm, whatever you're doing. It's just that time with them. And I think that's what you're doing on a much larger scale with the FCA. You're creating an environment
Absolutely.
that's conducive to sharing.
Yeah, you're getting away from some of the distractions, and you're getting where you can focus and put your attention on what you're doing. But if you're fishing, you're able to converse without some of those distractions, and it's good. And we really encourage that, of course, with families, and sometimes we're kind of intervening where a lot of our students don't have that father figure, and so for good, qualified and approved leaders to be able to get out and help with that's an awesome thing and a great encouragement, a great benefit. It's what my Heavenly Father does. I like to illustrate it with prayer. I mean, He doesn't need me, but He wants to include me. I've been blessed to do a lot of deer hunting, and I don't have them like you got hanging on the wall, but I got a few pretty good ones. And but I remember one of the most memorable ones was my baby girl, Mary, her first deer. So we go hunting, and she's a little bitty thing, and she kills a deer with a muzzle loader, and kills this doe that comes out. But the setup for that, I mean, I could have just went out there and climbed a tree. It'd been a lot easier. But I had to build a blind, get a thing to prop. She couldn't even hold a gun up. I had to get a frame to prop the gun up on and all of that. And it wasn't that I had to have her. It was just a lot more memorable and joyful for me to have her.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way God is with prayer. He doesn't have to, but He includes me because He wants to on His work. And so that's a blessing.
That is so special, and it's those times that impact those kids. I think back, my grandfather, I spent very little time with my grandfather on my dad's side. Spent a lot of time with my grandfather on my mom's side, but I spent very, very, very little time. He lived in McRae, Georgia, and we lived in North Carolina. Of course, there were no interstate highways when my grandfather was alive. But we would go down, and he fished in the Okmulgee River. He lived right there by Lake Montgomery, where the world record bass was caught, Telfair County, Georgia. And we would go down, and he'd take me redbreast fishing.
I love it.
I do too. And it just impacted me so much. And now here I am, an old man, and those memories are still very vivid and very important to me. So those little things like going out with your daughter and building a blind and spending the time and interacting, they're so valuable. And if we can figure out how to take that for those kids that don't have a dad, for those kids that don't have a father figure at all in their life, maybe not even a grandpa, and we can build that relationship and have some of those situations that we can create, it's just vitally important.
Yeah, it's fun, and that's a real blessing in FCA to be able to do that type of ministry. And I'm over here in South Carolina. We had a county where we didn't have a huddle meeting, a ministry meeting at the school, but our local rep, Cameron's awesome, and she got the football team out in the summer to farm pond and let them fish, and some coaches, and they caught fish and they cooked, and they just hosted an event for them to come, and they came. And then some of the players got fired up, and they came up to her after it was over and said, okay, we're ready to lead a huddle. We're going to do it. And so they got it going at the school now, and it's a good thing. And those young men are doing a great job. Over in North Georgia, our staff took out the Georgia Tech football players the other day, took them to the pond, let them catch some fish. And some of those guys hadn't done that before. They loved it. You know, catching a bluegill was a big deal. And like you'd think they'd scored a touchdown.
You got to be careful showing them football players how to fish. They might quit football. They'll find out what's important in life, catching that fish. Well, I'm going to tell you what.
That's a team builder.
Yes, sir. I love it. Well, we look at what everybody has put together with all the different programs. I had no earthly idea that there were backpacking opportunities or camping opportunities. Had no clue that archery was anywhere near the size that it is. And to be able to plug into all those different outlets, I see, in our little town here, I see the impact of FCA on the football team, on the fishing team. We got a great fishing team at Union High School, and the coach is a believer and a big supporter of FCA, and that's just, I see that. But to be able to engage in the outdoors, I see you at ICAST show. I see you at the Bassmaster Classic. I see you handing out Bibles and giving literature for anybody that wants it. I see you do all these things to promote, but I don't see and didn't realize how many rodeo, for example. That's probably not a big deal, so big a deal here. Of course, I don't know that. I didn't know archery was so big. But I know if you go out west, you go to Wyoming, rodeo is more important than football by far. So it's a national program. And how many countries you in?
It's about 120 now, I think.
That is crazy. And so rodeo is probably a big deal in a lot of places.
Some of the best bull riders in the world are in Brazil. Bronc riders, our guys up here kind of hate to see them come because they're good.
I understand that. That's good. Well, it is just a wonderful ministry that I'm so glad that there is an FCA Outdoors. That's important to me. I'm glad there's FCA period, but to be able to branch out and go to all these other sports that I didn't even know was a blip on the radar screen, and to learn that and to see you engage and to know you're there to build relationships. The whole purpose of my involvement, and I know because you and I have discussed this before, it's just to build relationships to be able to present the gospel.
Yes.
So many people don't understand the gospel.
Well, it is a relationship. It's not just a set of rules or religion. It is a relationship. And
it's 100% a relationship.
That's all it is. What it is.
Yeah. Going to church or doing good things have no effect on your salvation. It's when you humble yourself and ask Jesus Christ to come into your heart and be your Lord. He sends the Holy Spirit, lives within you. You've got a personal relationship, and that's salvation.
That's right.
And that's the message.
That's right.
And that's what FCA is all about.
That's exactly right.
That's what Paul Dennis is all about.
You got that right. You know that's true.
Yeah, I do know that's true. And I think that's amazing. And, you go throughout the South and everybody you talk to is a Christian. It's because they've heard it all their life.
Yeah.
they believe it, but they've never incorporated it. They've never taken it from their head to their heart. And I travel around, I share my testimony, I talk to people all the time, and I ask them about their salvation, and they basically are telling me when they turned over a new leaf, when they decided to go to church, or when they decided to start giving to a ministry, or they joined a civic organization to share or feed the hungry, and all those are wonderful things, but it's not salvation.
No. Everybody wants to be a little better, which is good, but
Yeah.
but we're never good enough. It's His righteousness. We get that relationship with Him that makes the difference.
Yeah, Ephesians 2:8-9 says, "For by grace you have been saved through faith, that not of yourselves, it is a gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast." But we get that out of context a lot of times when we prioritize doing good things and being a good guy and being better. But the gospel of Jesus Christ is the fact that He went to a cross. He took on our sins. He died on that cross and was buried. And on the third day, He rose, defeated death, hell, and the grave, defeated and buried our sins. And all we have to do is call on His name, confess to Him that we believe He's who He said He was, and that He died on that cross, He rose again, and He did that for us, and to build that personal relationship. And that is the message that somehow the devil or the counterfeiters of the world try to muddy up with, you got to be a good guy.
Yeah, somehow we just want to do it ourselves, but He did it all. We got to trust Him. And again, we're never good enough. The Bible says we're all sinners. We all come short. It's an archery term. It means to miss the mark.
Yeah.
You know, we've sinned. That's what sin means in the old original of the New Testament, in Greek. I remember I got stuck in my mind pictures and you and your longbow. I remember shooting when I first really got into recurve. Had a pretty good buck come up. I'm a teenager. Pretty good buck come up, and I shot. And you remember, especially with that old equipment, how they'll duck the string.
Oh yeah.
And so he does, and I scared hair with that old bear broadhead. You know, I scared hair, but that's it. You know, that's close, but I didn't eat backstrap. You know?
Oh, yeah.
And you may be better than somebody else. You may be good. You may think you're close, but we've all missed, and we're all come short. The Bible says so. But He filled the gap. He died for us because He loves us, and He forgives us of our sins. And that freedom is awesome when you have that relationship with Him.
It's a busy world. Kids are entertained on every level. The biggest competition for sports, for life itself, is that little handheld cell phones that everybody has today. And people are so busy. Kids are so indoctrinated with all sorts of philosophies. The vast majority of the world, the philosophies are way off base. To have an opportunity to build a group of influential people, your peer pressure is a big deal, whether we want to admit that or not. But to be able to go in and find just one kid that's fired up for the Lord Jesus Christ, one kid that is determined to share the gospel with his classmates, to be able to build on that and have that influence spread through a school system, through a archery program, through a fishing team, through a football team, a baseball, whatever. It's the most valuable thing that we can do for our kids.
Absolutely.
It's the most important thing we can do for our community, whether you have a kid. It is the greatest testimony we can have for our Lord, is to have compassion, to be able to reach out and go to the trouble. How much trouble, Paul? I know that you drove all day and night to get back from Dallas, Texas, where the Bassmaster Class, Fort Worth, Texas, where the Classic was, to get home to preach on Sunday morning. How much trouble do we go through to build these opportunities?
Yeah, it's worth it. It's not. The goal makes the drive okay, you know. I mean, the objective. So I'll go to, because I'm a Georgia guy now. I know where I'm at. I understand. I rode right by Clemson on the way over. But I get it. I love it all. But I went to school with Herschel. I'm old school.
Oh, yeah, come on.
And one of my favorite quotes was when they said, Herschel, they were interviewing him, you carried the ball 34 times. Doesn't that, wear you out? And he said, the ball ain't heavy.
I like that.
And I mean, no, the load is not so bad because of where you're going, man. The goal is worth it.
Well, I tell you, we look at where you are. Got a frog in my throat, excuse me. We look at where 1954, where FCA started. We look at where this crazy world is today. FCA is more important than it's ever been. And it is so important that people understand the gospel of Jesus Christ. And when you build a relationship and somebody sees that you're real and you care and you engage, when you share the gospel, it is so impactful. And that's the purpose. That's why I'm involved. And I know that's your calling and your purpose. And the only thing that can come out of the FCA is good.
We're very blessed and very fortunate and grateful for God's favor and for folks' support and prayers to be able to do what we do.
Well, we're very, very grateful, and I hope everybody was enlightened by all this. I had no earthly idea of all these different opportunities, all these different teams, all these different activities, and it's so great to know that there's somebody out there that's servicing all that, and I'm so grateful that you're doing that.
Like I said, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to work and help resource our staff all over the country that are just doing all kind of really out there, staff lady Heath Hines in Nevada, backpacking in the mountains. I mean, that's pretty fun. I talked to a staff member last night. He's in Oregon, just did cow rein horse cap. So they had like 110 cows, 90 horses, 83 kids. Think of the logistics and insurance of getting all that squared off, and 63 volunteer, great leaders in the sport, and, just people making decisions in relationship with Christ and getting to get out there and ride and rope. It's awesome.
The drive was worth it because of the cause.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. That's good. I might have to figure out how to put that into some kind of quote to use that.
Well, you go buy some lakes to go fish other lakes.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. Well, I tell you, it's been exciting and it's enlightening for me, and I'm appreciative of what you do and very thankful for the FCA, and I appreciate you coming on the podcast and just sharing a little bit with us.
Thank you for your friendship personally and for your influence and impact in FCA. You've been a big friend of this ministry for years, and an inspiration, encouragement, you are the people in the outdoor community. That's what we love it.
It's all for the cause. Paul Dennis, folks, he's a great guy, hard worker, getting it done, man. He's got God's favor on him. I'm very appreciative. Also appreciative to Mossy Oak and to Liqua Molly for helping us with our podcast. We appreciate you joining in. So for Paul Dennis, tell him goodbye, Paul.
Goodbye. Thank you so much. What an honor to be here.
Hey, thank you so much. And hey, we'll see you next week. God bless you. I'm Hank Parker.